and they started to read out the verdicts, and the tension was palpable.
I think it was count 4 or 5 that was actually the first murder count, and when that verdict came back, it was just a sense of relief that we'd actually done it.
I recall looking at Joyce as the second murder verdict was returned and saw him mouth the words, "Are you happy now?"
I cried, just out of relief really, because there were moments where I thought they were going to get off.
Colin Joyce was convicted of both murders. Lee Amos was convicted of Tyrone Gilbert's murder, but the jury failed to reach a verdict about his alleged involvement in the killing of Yukal Chin. Aaron Campbell, Narada Williams and Ricardo Williams were convicted of Tyrone Gilbert's murder, attempted murder, as well as drug dealing and gun possession. The other 6 members of the gang were convicted of various drug dealing and gun possession charges. Sentences for Amos and Joyce's lieutenants totaled a minimum of 146 years. Finally, Lee Amos was handed a minimum sentence of 35 years. And Colin Joyce was told he would spend at least the next 39 years of his life behind bars.
I think the sentences that these individuals received just shows how seriously their offences and their criminality has been taken by the judicial system. I mean, the fact that they've both got longer minimum recommendations than Peter Sutcliffe got says something.
So long were the sentences that Greater Manchester Police went to extraordinary lengths to publicise them. Ageing posters were made showing how Joyce and Amos could look at the end of their sentences, and they were plastered on billboards all over the city. It was a defiant message to the community and to Manchester's criminal underworld that gangland behaviour would not be tolerated. Although the sentences were huge, they didn't bring an end to the suffering.
They can still hold their brothers, their sons' hands, give them a kiss goodbye, see you tomorrow, see you next week. We can't do that. We have to kiss a headstone to give him a kiss. That's what hurts the most, that we have to come here to see my brother.
Sometimes touch his picture and say, "Son, I love you and I miss you. Why did you leave me?" The pain will be always there, always, never leave me.
This case was solved by a combination of innovative policing and good old-fashioned detective work. It took 11 dangerous men off the streets, and it brought to an end a period of lawlessness which hopefully Manchester will never see again.
Since the arrest and charge of Lee Amos, Colin Joyce and the rest of the gang, we've seen a significant reduction in the number of firearms incidents across Greater Manchester.
Gun crime in the city has fallen by almost 60% in 2 years. For a 16-month period, there wasn't a single gang-related shooting. But for officers like Rod Carter, the fight goes on.
We're on duty every evening of the week, and we'll be dealing with any gang-related or firearms-related incidents that may occur throughout the evening.
The Excalibur anti-gang unit, working with the help of the community, continues to tackle gang activity, taking guns and drugs off the streets.
It's definitely felt safer. It feels more united as a community now. The whole problem hasn't gone away. There's always younger boys that are going to want to fill their shoes. But there's definitely been a change.
It's Despite all the negative press Manchester's received over the years, being referred to as Gunchester because of the gang violence, you can't forget that this is South Manchester, South Central LA, and individuals such as Joyce and Amos come along very, very infrequently, and I don't think the city's ever seen the likes of them before, and hopefully they won't again.
In my opinion, Colin Joyce and Lee Amos had decided that they were now invincible. What we were able to show was that the community and the police together were a far bigger gang than their gang.
Well, it's very, very hard and it is freezing, but they are battling on courageously. A few hiccups along the way, though. More from 71 degrees north tomorrow night at 9. We're back in Australia next, where Stephen Tompkinson is having a very exciting balloon adventure.